Whether you're a new staff member or you've been with us for a while, my coworkers and I welcome you to our orientation DVD.
No matter what area you work in, we recognize your contribution
and how important you are to the entire team.
The residents depend completely on your services.
But so do your coworkers.
Wherever you work in a care facility, we all depend on each other and want to help each other avoid work-related injuries. It's a team effort.
An injury can take you out of the picture at work and at home. If you are hurt, you may require care or rehabilitation. Your income may be affected. As well, your life away from work may be drastically impacted by your injury.
You may not be capable of fully participating in activities with your loved ones. You may not be capable of driving. And taking care of your household might prove to be very difficult.
We hope the information in this DVD will help you stay safe and in the picture, right where you belong, both at home and at work.
Whether you work in the office,
in the kitchen,
housekeeping,
In maintenance,
in recreation,
in rehabilitation,
or as a care attendant.
There are many safety issues common to all work areas that may cause injury. Some examples that may lead to injury: lifting, repositioning, repetitive motions, not using the correct personal protective equipment or PPE, the emotional state of the resident you are caring for, and slips, trips, or falls.
proper safety training combined with an awareness of others around you and the surrounding conditions is key. How safely you perform your work tasks will definitely have an impact on your everyday life.
The purpose of this DVD is to put you in the work picture and frame an overview of the types of safety measures that should be in place so that you are
Properly trained for work tasks.
properly trained to use all necessary equipment.
Properly trained to use the appropriate equipment and personal protective equipment provided.
Trained to follow all safe work practices and procedures.
and trained to fulfill your duty to immediately report hazards and injuries.
and properly trained to respond to an emergency.
We can reduce and eliminate workplace injuries. We want to keep you safely in the picture. Our goal is to provide continuing care with continuing safety. All continuing care health facilities by law must follow the Occupational Health and Safety Act, regulations, and codes of the province of Alberta. However, all facilities have individual policies regarding rules and procedures for
Staff and resident health and emergency safety response.
Environmental concerns.
and general operations.
Policies and procedures will be explained during your initial orientation.
Stay informed. It is your responsibility to follow the proper policies and procedures.
If you're not sure what is expected of you or how to do your work safely, please ask your supervisor. They'll be more than happy to help. Personal issues or situations outside of the workplace may affect your job performance.
Regarding safety, try to arrive at work well rested, focused, and with a clear mind to perform the various tasks on your shift. If you are tired or distracted, you place at risk everyone's safety, including your own.
Always try to maintain an overall big picture view of any situation you find, as it may not just be one person at risk, it may be several. Let's take another look at this example and see how to perform this task safely.
Be aware of your surroundings and activities so you are always on the lookout for all possible risks so you can react appropriately and safely.
Hazardous situations can occur almost anywhere in a care facility. Always remain aware and alert to potential hazards. This is one of the most important safety measures you have to practice regularly to keep your workplace safe. Before starting any new work task anywhere within a facility, a hazard assessment must be performed. In some cases, a completed form may already exist for specific commonly performed tasks, but either way, you need to be aware of your facility's hazard assessment guidelines for your work tasks.
Depending on the job task or situation, this may simply involve you thinking through a mental checklist of potential hazards and safety points before beginning that task.
However, when dealing with a new procedure, piece of equipment, or when applying a new technique, a formal hazard written assessment must be completed.
There are a number of steps. 1. Identify and list the various steps involved in completing the work.
2. Identify and list the various safety hazards at each step.
3. List the ways in which the hazards will be eliminated or controlled.
4. Identify any special personal protective equipment PPE required to be worn for the task. And 5. Identify the cleanup procedures after the task is completed.
But even with training and the insight from a hazard assessment, it is still very important to always run through a mental checklist of potential hazards before approaching a job task.
Be aware of your surroundings in order to protect yourself and others from workplace hazards. Ask yourself the following questions before beginning any work task.
What will I be doing? Do I clearly understand my task?
Am I physically and mentally prepared to do the task?
Have I examined all the equipment I will be using?
Could any of the equipment or conditions pose a risk to me? How do I control them?
What hazards are involved? What could go wrong? Is there a risk to others or myself?
What can change that could create a new risk?
Do I need PPE?
What happens at the end of the job?
Do I need to return a piece of equipment back to its storage area?
Make certain you receive proper training on all needed personal protective equipment available at your facility. Please, no shortcuts. If PPE is definitely required for a job task, it is your responsibility to wear it. Remember, PPE is the last line of defense in protecting yourself, so please use it properly.
For various tasks, you may be required to wear gloves, disposable gowns, goggles, respiratory masks, and aprons.
Disposable gloves are the most commonly used PPE. They should be waterproof, of good quality, suitable for the job task.
And since some workers and clients are allergic to latex, other types of gloves such as vinyl should be available.
To minimize the spread of infection, remove contaminated gloves by turning them inside out, like this. And depending on the job task, disposing of them in the correct waste container.
It's a good practice to wash your hands immediately after glove removal.
Maintenance staff for certain shop tasks will be required to wear safety glasses with side shields, hard hats, leather gloves, and safety footwear.
Don't wear extremely loose-fitting clothing as it could get tangled or caught in lift equipment or snagged while working with a resident. For the same reason, rings, bracelets, and dangling jewelry should also be avoided. If working with chemical cleansers or hazardous materials, you will be made aware of the PPE available at your facility and the appropriate use of that equipment.
Always wear the appropriate PPE specifically listed for handling particular hazardous materials. If in doubt, check the Material Safety Data Sheet, MSDS, or check with someone who knows.
This is extremely important with a new product or a product that you have not handled before. Remember, oxygen is highly pressurized and must always be treated with caution.
Some products are flammable. Others may cause respiratory and skin injury. You only have to get it wrong once, and the tragic results could take you out of the picture for good. Working in a healthcare facility may expose you to sharps and the potential of infectious disease.
Use disposable gloves when handling sharp items and the sharp container.
Alberta legislation requires that, where available, a safety-engineered sharp be used.
All needles and potentially biohazardous sharp items must be disposed of in a sharps container.
Don't throw any sharps into the garbage or trash. Cleaning staff and housekeepers may become injured and/or infected by mistake. Hand washing is one of the best ways to minimize the risk of getting or spreading infection.
You can avoid spreading it to common objects like telephones,
Keyboards,
Doorknobs,
as well as contaminating others.
Always wash your hands after direct contact with a resident, before putting on and after removing PPE such as gloves and gowns, and when hands are visibly soiled. If water is not available, when appropriate, use a waterless hand cleaner that has at least 70% alcohol.
Housekeeping staff need to be very careful when handling trash. Gloves need to be worn. Trash bags should be securely tied and then removed from the container by the top of the bag only.
Take care to avoid any body contact with a trash bag, as possible sharp edges may protrude.
There may also be special procedures required in response to infectious disease outbreaks. Your employer will review these with you. Every work shift will bring you into situations that, if done incorrectly, could lead to a musculoskeletal injury, an MSI. Overexertion of the muscles and/or repetitive movements are responsible for over 50% of healthcare workers' injuries.
An MSI is an injury or disorder of the muscles, tendons, ligaments, joints, nerves, blood vessels, or related soft tissues, including sprains, strains, and inflammation that may be caused or made worse by work tasks.
There are 5 main types of risk factors that cause or contribute to MSIs.
Force is the effort you put into moving or gripping something. When your body has to work harder and your muscles, tendons, and ligaments are physically stressed, you are at greater risk of injury.
An incorrect grip can increase loads on muscles and transfer force to small muscles in the hands and arms, therefore increasing your risk of injury. The same motion over and over using the same muscle groups without sufficient breaks or rest increases your risk of injury.
Awkward posture occurs when any part of your body bends or moves outside of its comfortable range. You are at greater risk of MSI if you have to hold the position for a long time, and particularly if force is also being applied.
Static posture occurs when you hold one position for a long time. The level of risk depends on the length of time and the force required.
Signs of visible MSI are redness, swelling, loss of normal joint movement, and muscle wasting.
MSI symptoms felt are pain, tenderness, weakness, numbing or cramping, pins and needles, heat or burning sensation, or a cold sensation.
Always check for hazards when transferring a resident. Ask the resident to assist as much as possible. Use equipment such as lifts appropriately when possible.
Use long handles or extensions for cleaning under beds or hard-to-reach areas, etc.
Use a step stool for cleaning elevated, difficult-to-reach shelves, and to reach or store items on higher shelves.
Notice the correct position during this transfer. Feet are planted firmly, offering a base of support. Legs are bent and back is straight. Lift with the legs rather than the back.
Here are a couple of quick tips to help prevent MSI injuries. Never stop a resident's fall. Rather, control the fall to the floor. And always use a power grip, not a pinch, on sheets and belts used for a transfer. Slips, trips, and falls are another leading cause of continuing care workers' injuries.
Wear appropriate footwear at all times. Make sure they offer a good grip, firm support, and are comfortable for a long shift.
Neat and orderly housekeeping is a must. Clutter and mess creates hazards.
Report any building dangers such as wrinkled or worn carpet, linoleum tears and or lifting, and loose baseboard moldings, etc.
Use warning signs such as slippery, wet surface. Walk, don't run, especially on stairs. Always use handrails.
Keep cabinet drawers and doors closed. Balance loads in both hands and always look where you are going. When wet, rainy, or in the winter, be extra careful of slippery floors and icy walks, parking lots, and entranceways. We all know that working in a continuing care facility involves lifting. Many residents require lifting, but so do the goods and materials used in every department.
Whether you work in the kitchen, the maintenance department, administration, recreation, or on a nursing floor, at some point during your shift, you will probably be faced with having to lift and move an item.
Make certain you receive proper training on safe handling of residents and/or materials. It's critical you thoroughly plan your lift regardless of whether you perform a manual lift or use mechanical lifting devices such as resident lifts, pallet jacks, and dollies for lifting and moving.
Test the load to see if it is too heavy or awkward for one person. If required, ask for assistance. Look and think ahead. Check that the pathway is clear.
Begin the lift by getting a firm footing. Keep feet shoulder width apart and drop your butt into a squat position.
Keep your toes pointed slightly out.
Bend your knees. Don't bend at the waist.
As you lift, use your abdominal muscles to support your spine and remember to breathe.
Lift using the big muscles in your legs and bum. Don't lift with your back muscles.
Hold the load close to your body, placing less strain on your back. Don't add your body weight to the load.
Keep your head up. Keep your back straight and avoid twisting.
Always use correct lifting procedure, as a back injury can take you right out of the picture for the rest of your life. As you will be caring for residents who will be in their mid to late stages of dementia, you may encounter some difficult situations related to their condition.
It may be lunchtime, bath time, or time to go to sleep, but the resident does not want to cooperate. In fact, they may become agitated and strike out if forced or rushed into the activity.
Your facility should have specific procedures for dealing with potentially aggressive situations. Ensure you are trained to handle these situations. However, here are some tips. If you know a resident may be difficult, before you approach them, check in with other attendants or at the nursing station to ask about the resident's current emotional state.
Remain compassionate and understanding. Keep talking to them about what you would like them to do.
If you are not making any progress, or they seem to be getting more agitated, leave the resident for a short time and approach them again later.
If they are quite agitated, stay back a few feet. Keep attempting to calmly explain your intent. Don't touch them, as this may provoke even more aggression. If required, leave and bring other support staff to help. Aggression and anger may also occur with visiting family or friends of a client. The visitor may be agitated and angry over an issue or something they feel is not correct.
Stay calm. They may be angry, but confronting them is not appropriate. Rather, excuse yourself from the situation, and contact your supervisor to come and deal with the persons.
In extreme situations, call your facility's security person or the police. If you are injured on the job site, you must immediately report your injury as required by the Alberta Occupational Health and Safety Code, and you must also complete the necessary WCB forms. Depending on the injury and your facility's policy, an incident report may be required. When in doubt, ask your supervisor.
Reporting of injuries is also very important, as it can be most helpful in assessing and changing workplace procedures.
For the same reason, a work situation that results in a close call or a near miss should also be reported.
Remember, you have the right to refuse any work that you believe has the potential to be of serious danger. For your own safety and the safety of others, if you truly believe there is a threat to life or limb in performing a job task, you have the right to refuse the work. During an emergency, your safety and the safety of the residents depends on you knowing what to do. You will be trained according to the emergency response policies and procedures specific to your facility. Be familiar with the various alarms and emergency codes, as well as AHS current code definitions for emergencies.
Know the emergency numbers to call in the event that you discover an emergency. It may not be 911 in your area.
Know the evacuation procedure and the meeting or muster points. Wait at muster points for a head count. Otherwise, rescue personnel could be risking their own lives looking for someone who has already evacuated.
Know the location of fire alarms and fire extinguishers. Know how to use a fire extinguisher.
Know the evacuation procedure for residents.
Know who on your shift is trained in first aid.
These are some emergency situations and questions that you must be prepared to answer at a moment's notice. Continuing care facilities are rather open and inviting to the public. The intent, of course, is to encourage family and friends to visit the residents.
However, you must be mindful of strangers and their intent. Your facility may have a security policy, and if so, you must be familiar with it.
Take note of suspicious individuals in the building, especially at late hours. Share your suspicions with your supervisor, co-workers, or, if applicable, to security personnel.
If there are individuals in the building without any valid reason, report them. Know your facility's procedure in dealing with security issues.
Guard your access codes and pass cards carefully. If you have lost or misplaced your card, or if you feel an access code has been taken illegally, alert your supervisor or security immediately. Shift work means coming and going at late hours. Never let strangers tailgate you in or out of the building while you are entering or exiting.
Be alert and aware of the surroundings when approaching your car in the parking lot. If something seems wrong or someone is around that shouldn't be there, return to the building and report the situation, or call security on your cell phone. When possible, walk to vehicles or bus stops in pairs.
Rely on your instincts. If strangers are in the building, parking lot, or on the grounds, and something just feels wrong and they seem to not fit the picture, they could be a risk. Report your suspicions. We want to welcome you to our workforce and leave you with a final word, a word that will help to not only keep you safe, but it will even protect and put your fellow workers into the safety picture as well. The word is awareness. The A in awareness stands for alert.
Are you well rested? Feeling healthy?
The W is for who.
Who are your clients today? And who are your shift mates?
The next A is for assess.
Assess all hazards.
The R is for regard.
Regard the big picture.
The E is for education.
Are you educated in your facility's policies and procedures?
The N is for numbers for emergencies.
Do you know them? Do you know the emergency phone numbers?
The E is for emergency preparedness.
Do you know the procedures?
The S is for security.
Do you know when and how to contact them?
And the last S is for sense, common sense. Think about situations. Think about the possible consequences of your actions and choose the safe way to accomplish your work tasks. Let common sense and safety lead you through your workday. If each of us practices the message of awareness, the safety framework for all continuing care facilities will be much safer for everyone. Thank you for watching, and thank you for putting yourself in the picture of providing
Continuing care with continuing safety.